Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friend Diagram. This is the podcast where two friends catch up and find common ground between their favorite media. I'm Remy.
I'm Kat, and today we'll be chatting about Remy's radar for October and doing a quick catch-up. Warning, spoilers ahead.
Hey, Kat.
Hi, Remy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. It's been another long gap in between our recordings.
I know. It's crazy that it's already October. It is feeling like fall out on the East Coast. It is beautiful weather.
Yeah, it is much more moderate in temperature and dare I say crisp outside.
Yes, it's wonderful. I made an impulse purchase, so I'm like deep in thesis hell, and the way I've been coping is by impulse purchasing things.
Oh, sometimes you just gotta.
I know. Retail therapy helps, and Amazon has been benefiting. You're welcome, Jeff Bezos. And so...
Any good finds?
Yeah. So I ordered a projector and a screen that I set up out on our balcony. Mm-hmm. And so Scott and I have been doing movie nights out on the balcony in the fall, and it's been very cozy. We get all bundled up and go sit out in the very cool fall weather and just light. We've got like a ghost spooky candle that's like shaped like a ghost, and so we light the ghost candle and we watch movies outside, and it has been lovely. So we've been enjoying that. We watched Beetlejuice last weekend, and
Perfect.
Yeah, it was excellent. So
very seasonal.
That reminds me.
That reminds me of when we would do Friday night movie nights in your backyard out on the projector.
I know. I wish we could just cram everyone on the balcony and just hang out.
Yeah. And we did that into the fall until it got too cold. And then we started
sneaking around.
Sneaking around into auditoriums. Remember the Great Sambini?
Yes. Oh my God.
I still think of that sometimes and laugh.
Wind River. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
we were trying to prevent the locks on the auditorium from catching so that we could watch Wind River in the biggest auditorium at the medical school. And I was like doing some sneaking recon, but there was a man on one of those riding floor washing machines that looks like it looks like a Zamboni, but it's not for ice, it's just for the floor. And I was texting our friend who was also helping with recon. I was like, watch out for the Zamboni, but my phone corrected it to Zampini.
Oh my gosh.
And so I just sounded insane.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're liking your balcony situation.
Yeah, it's excellent. Definitely worth it. If you have a space to put a projector outside, I highly recommend it. It's not too late. Don't let anyone tell you it's too cold to be outside at night watching movies. So get your popcorn movies popcorn.
Popcorn movies popcorn.
Go outside and vibe. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. That's what's been giving me joy lately. I actually have a thesis defense date, which is so exciting. So until then, for all of our listeners, we are going to be kind of going back to more regular episodes, but we will be shifting to a bi-monthly release schedule for the time being. So we'll be aiming for 2 episodes a month, one released at the beginning of the month and one released in the middle of the month. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, stick around. Thanks for sticking around while we've been kind of off the air. But yeah, it's exciting. We're glad to be back.
Yep. Looking forward to the fall movie season. There's been so much movie news, Kat, since I last talked to you. Like, there's been entire cycles of entertainment news around movies. Just because the like autumn film festivals have been in full swing. with Telluride and Venice and Toronto. So there's been lots of good intel coming out of those and some very interesting acquisitions that I'm very excited about. One that I will touch on is, have I told you about Friendship?
No, I don't think so.
I'm really excited for this. This is a feature-length film that Tim Robinson is co-starring in with Paul Rudd.
Okay.
And I have heard so many good things about how genuinely funny and also true to Tim Robinson the film is. And it just had an incredible response at TIFF. And it got acquired by A24.
Ooh.
They have not yet set a release date, but I'm hopeful it will be sometime this fall because I am very eager to see Friendship.
Wow.
You know, we love Tim Robinson
yeah.
and his whole deal on this pod. So
he's very unique.
Yes, he's quite unique. And I want to experience that. I think I'm ready to experience that for the length of a feature-length film.
Yeah. And Paul Rudd is great, too. I'm excited to see that dynamic. I think that'll be really interesting.
Me too. So I'm excited about that. A24 had a couple other very exciting acquisitions. They acquired Luca Guadagnino's film Queer. That's the one that has Daniel Craig in it. Mm-hmm. Really excited for that. That's going to come and be released at the end of November now, so we don't have terribly much longer to wait. And most exciting of all, Kat, I have to tell you, just as my friend, you must know, so many of my hopes and dreams are tied up in The Brutalist.
Okay.
Which is Brady Corbett's film. I believe it clocks in at 3.5 hours.
Oh my God.
But the responses I've seen to The Brutalist at Venice and TIFF and now the New York Film Festival as that is getting underway, it just gives me hope in my heart that The Brutalist could save me. I really think it could.
I know who this has in it. I've been following this actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember it. It's on the tip of my brain. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know you know him.
We've talked about him on the pod. Do you want a hint?
Yes.
He was in one of my standout scenes from Asteroid City. He plays the playwright.
Yes, Adrian Brody. That's what I thought it was, but then I didn't want to be wrong.
That's him.
He's so distinct. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to see him in another film. I am obsessed with him. He's excellent.
Kat, I'm so freaking excited. Awesome. I'm so excited for The Brutalist. That just got dated. A24 acquired it out of the festivals, and it just got dated this week for December 20th. So we're going to have The Brutalist on the 20th, Nosferatu on the 25th, and those two things are going to completely compose my emotional life for the rest of the year.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can't wait.
The holiday season.
The holiday season. Just me in a movie theater. Yeah, so those are some really exciting things going on. Yeah. And we got just an excellently executed second teaser trailer for Steven Soderbergh's Presence. Mm-hmm. I sent this to you earlier today so you could experience it as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm just fascinated and so excited to see what that's going to be like. It's not coming out until 2025, but I think it's going to be a fascinating project. Because Steven Soderbergh is such a competent but versatile filmmaker, and I don't think I've seen him make a straight-up horror movie before. So I'm really interested to see what Presence is like.
What has he worked on before?
His most well-known stuff is like the Ocean's movies. Traffic, Magic Mike, Aaron Brockovich.
Oh, all kinds of different. Stuff. Interesting.
Yeah. He's an exciting guy. Yeah.
That's very cool. That's a very cool shift.
So I think it'll be really cool.
I've definitely seen some of that stuff. It was just like before I focused on directors and paid attention to that kind of stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I guess he did Contagion. That's probably the closest.
I love Contagion.
I think that's excellent. His. I guess I should double check, but
spreading misinformation on the internet.
Yeah, we don't want to do any of that. Hey, Steven Soderbergh, did you do Contagion? Yeah, he did. Awesome.
Oh, love that.
So I guess that's the closest thing to a horror that I can think of from him. But Presence looks completely separate and spooky.
Yeah. Oh,
and interesting.
It gave me goosebumps. That's what I responded to you. It was like, ooh, gave me goosebumps. Which I love horror like that. I especially, you know me, I love like a haunted house specifically. That's like my wheelhouse is like
don't
haunted houses and spooky stuff going on in houses. Yeah.
You know what else is exciting?
What?
I'm going to go see Megalopolis tomorrow.
Oh, very cool.
I'm very excited. I had to be strategic on what day I'm going. So I had to make some sacrifices format-wise. I wasn't fast enough to see it, to get like a screening at the right time in IMAX. So I'm just seeing it regular format, but I think that's going to be fine. But I also am missing out on the like, what are they calling it? It's a Megalopolis in IMAX special experience or ultimate experience. I think they're calling it the ultimate experience. And it's a special screening where there's a live actor in the theater who's also doing lines and interacting with the film. So
oh my god, so it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Kind of, but just like one person, I think. It's not like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've just heard of it.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either. I wonder what it's like. But
I feel like it must feel weird for the actor.
It might be also. Who can say?
Maybe.
Because I think they kind of are having a conversation with Adam Driver as Adam Driver is in the movie. And they are somehow interacting with him in a scene. I really don't know. Obviously, I haven't seen what this experience is like, but from the stills I have seen on the internet, that's kind of what it seems like, which is a fascinating idea.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I can't wait to see what the experience is like. I hear so many different varied takes on it, but
are you going to open a bottle of Coppola wine to celebrate afterwards?
Oh my god, that's such a great idea. I wish I could, but I have like a 9 a.m. meeting the next morning that I already know about. It's going to be, absolutely work getting in the way of having a fun life.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Drink it on the weekend.
Yeah, I'll save it for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, I also am working on constructing my Vulture fantasy team for the award season this year.
You did very well last year.
I did pretty good last year. Yeah.
Way better than me.
The deadline this year, I think, is October 3rd. So it's almost time to get those teams in. And the rules are slightly different. They're weighing box office a lot higher this year, which I noted with interest because last year I did not count. I really didn't factor in box office almost whatsoever.
Interesting.
But now this year I have to think about it much more, which is kind of challenging. So I'm still forming the team, but I will let you know what the team shapes up to be probably the next time we record because I'll have to have locked it in by then.
Yeah. Well, I will live vicariously through you. Because I just chose at random. I was like, this movie was good. Like that one. Yeah. Very cool. Very nice.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And then we'll be entering, like, fall's here, and then it'll be Christmas time, and then we'll be entering award seasons, basically. Yeah. And so the year is flying by.
It's flying by. It's time for Remy's October.
I know.
Remy's Radar.
It's insane. Give it to us.
Give it to us. Give us the beeps and the boops. Let me tell you some stuff that I'm excited about for October. The first one, I I mean, they snuck in some early limited release for this, but it goes wide in October. So I'm counting Saturday Night, the new film from Jason Reitman, that is a single night depicting the first airing of Saturday Night Live in 1975. And it has a bunch of really young, exciting actors portraying, all of those people that eventually became very famous through Saturday Night Live. Of note, I'm excited to see Gabriel LaBelle and Cooper Hoffman in the film, but it's a stacked cast. Rachel Sennett is in it. There's a million really fun and exciting people in it. And I hear that it is just a really fun, very fast-paced and riotous time in the theater. And I think that's going to be a really fun palate cleanser to kick off the fall with. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be awesome.
When does that come out?
That is going wide on October 11th in theaters. Yeah, Saturday night. Sounds fun. The next one, I'm very excited. On October 18th, I'm finally going to get to see Anora, which is Sean Baker's new film. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's been absolutely soaring to the top of audience exit polls. Everyone, it's a great crowd pleaser, it sounds like. And I really like Sean Baker, as you know. I think my favorite of his so far is The Florida Project. But he's got a lot of really interesting films. And so I hear so much good stuff about Anora. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and has been really well received everywhere else since then. And I hear it's really funny, really fun, exciting, heartfelt. And I also hear the ending rocks. So I can't wait to see it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, that looked excellent when I saw the trailer for that.
Very excited for Anora. And finally, to wrap up October, I'm also excited to check out The Nickel Boys. This is coming on October 25th, and it's an adaptation of the Colson Whitehead book of the same name. And I hear it makes a lot of really bold and adventurous choices in the direction and the cinematography of the film. It's directed by Ramel Ross, who I'm not familiar with, but I love a big swing and an audacious choice, and I think this movie will fit the bill for that. And I think it will be obviously a compelling story if it's based on Colson Whitehead's work. So I think The Nickel Boys is definitely going to be worth checking out as well.
Yeah, I haven't read any Colson Whitehead, but I've always been very intrigued by the descriptions of his books and stuff. So
yeah, I was talking with one of my friends about him a couple months ago, and I think Colson Whitehead is really well known because he's so celebrated and his work has been so famously awarded. I think he has at least 2 Pulitzer Prizes, I want to say. And so my friend was asking me, does he, is it even possible to live up to that kind of hype? And I was like, well, I've only read a couple of his books, but from what I can tell, he kind of defies the odds and does actually live up to the hype in that I cannot understand how he can write so richly and eloquently, but also so modernly at the same time, if that makes sense.
Totally.
He's you could see
it doesn't feel dry and
no, it's not dry, but it has the same weightiness of the classics writers, but it is distinctly modern.
Yeah.
And suited for modern sensibilities and modern concerns, even when he might be dealing with subject matter that's depicted decades ago.
Interesting.
I think maybe one that would be, if you're interested, if good for you to start with, could be Zone 1. That's the book of his I read most recently, and it takes place in New York City predominantly.
Oh, cool.
And it was really good. So yeah, that's my way of saying I can't believe it, but Colson Whitehead, it really is that good at writing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That definitely kind of sells me on it. I want to check it out.
Yeah. that guy can craft a freaking sentence, man. But I mean, and even so, I bet that makes it perhaps more challenging to adapt his work into film.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll see how the Nickel Boys translates.
Yeah. On the book radar.
Yeah, tell me.
Rachel Harrison's new book, So Thirsty, came out in September. I have not started it yet. It is on my list. I am working my way towards it. And Emil Rio's novella just came out, Graveyard Shift. That came in my mail yesterday. And
my mail too, thanks to Kat.
I'm so excited about it. And I glanced at the first page and I'm already so excited about it. So
yeah,
I also forgot I got it on the Audible if you're interested in the audiobook. So I must have pre-ordered that a long time ago and then been like, oops. So that's on the Audible. But yeah, so I think that's the only new book news, but definitely pick those up. ML Rio wrote If We Were Villains, which is not something that we've really discussed on the pod, but it's a novel that Remy recommended to me a long time ago, and I read last summer not last summer, but the summer before, and it was excellent. And it was one of those novels that I started again from the beginning and then bought the audiobook and then listened to the audiobook from the beginning. And I just I had that ninth house hyperfixation on it for a hot minute. And I recommend it to everybody. So
yeah, I recommend
if you
it
have
a lot.
not picked it up, I would highly recommend grabbing If We Were Villains, because it's a perfect fall into winter read. I feel like it's just
absolutely
very dark academia, very dark wintry fall vibes. Excellent.
Definitely.
Excellent stuff.
I bet ML Rio is a great hang. I bet they're really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good shouts. Anything else on your October list?
I don't think so. I'm desperate for Heretic to come out. I can't believe I have to wait until November.
Yeah, that's definitely on the November watch.
Ugh.
There's a couple streaming things that are exciting, though. Are you interested in Salem's Lot? That's coming out on Max on the 4th of October.
I didn't even know about it, but now I am.
Louis Pullman is in it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Son of our beloved Bill Pullman.
Oh my god. I have not thought about Salem's Lot since I read it in 5th grade, and I remember not really caring for it. There was a lot of animal death and mutilation.
Oh, no.
I don't know if the show will involve that as much. And it wasn't that bad, but 5th grade me was yeah. And so it was
yeah,
definitely not my top tier Stephen King list, but I would check it out.
I don't think I finished the book. I remember starting it and being like, this is too much real estate law. I don't want to hear about this.
Yeah, I don't even really remember anything about the vampires. I don't really even remember. I remember all of the interpersonal dynamics being so upsetting. Yeah. And I remember being so stressed about everything that all of the people in this little town were going through. But I don't remember anything about the big bads.
Me neither. You know what I wish they would remake instead?
What?
I wish they would make a new... It's probably been adapted at some point, but I would love someone to take on Needful Things.
Oh, I've never read that.
It's good. I think it would really suit an update. Yeah. It's about a small town in Maine where a shady character comes to town and he opens up a store and he sells you exactly what you're looking for, and the objects you purchase kind of bewitch you.
And that sounds so good.
It's great. And it's exposes people's darkest desires and causes strife among people in the town. So it's exciting. I would love if someone did a Needful Things update.
Yeah, that would be excellent. Yeah. I love Stephen King.
Yeah. Oh, and there's another movie coming to streaming, also on October 4th. It's coming to Netflix, and it's called It's What's Inside, that I'm interested in. I've heard good buzz about that as well. I think it's a body swapping movie.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I need more Mike Flanagan projects. I need more on my radar from Mike Flanagan.
I forgot to talk to you about the Mike Flanagan news out of TIFF. He won the Audience Choice Award, which is the biggest award at TIFF.
Amazing!
His movie, The Life of Chuck, which is a Stephen King adaptation, won that honor at TIFF, which is nice. It just doesn't have a distributor.
Someone pick it up so that I can watch it.
Yeah. I haven't read The Life of Chuck, have you?
Mm-mm.
It's one of those non-horror Stephen King stories. So,
kind of like a Richard Bachman.
More of like a Shawshank, the body / Stand By Me type vibe.
Gotcha.
So, more kind of life-affirming, I want to say, people have said.
Huh.
And Tom Hiddleston, he's the star.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's a crowd pleaser.
Cool.
Well, yeah, congrats, Mike Flanny, on your big award.
Oh, congratulations. Now please make The Dark Tower. So I can watch it.
Now please make Needful Things.
Now please make every movie back to back all the time and just release them in a constant stream. Please.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to say that part. There's just so much news, Kat. So much has happened.
I know. It's kind of crazy how much goes on between the time that we talk.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and you've been watching movies like a mad woman.
Oh, yeah.
Your letterbox is just like racking up the movies.
Yeah, we were comparing stats before we started recording.
I was like, Remy, I've watched 45 movies this year. I've been keeping track. And she was like, is that a lot? And I was like, yes, that's a lot.
Oh, your impression of me is so bitchy, but it was like, I didn't mean it that way.
I know you didn't. You were just trying to gauge how impressed I wanted you to be. And I wanted you to be extremely impressed.
Yes. It's a personal best for Kat.
It was, yes.
That's huge. Absolutely huge.
I was telling Remy that before we started the pod, I would probably watch like 15 movies a year. So this is like excellent for me. And yeah. I don't know. I'm very proud of it. And we're not even fully done with the year. So hopefully we'll rack up a lot more.
Absolutely. There's plenty of time for more. I bet we're both at personal bests, if I had to guess. Because I had a lot of fallow years in grad school.
Boo grad school.
I mean, yeah, boo grad school. We want time for movies, which is what I have now. So I'm at 285 for the year.
So nice.
Because my priorities are now in order. I got my life together so that I can watch movies. Thank you very much.
And you have been doing an excellent job.
Yeah, and I've been seeing some great films since we last spoke. Yeah. Can I tell you about some of them?
Please, tell me all about them.
Kat, I loved Alien Romulus. I had such a great time.
That's one of mine, too. I loved Alien Romulus. So good.
Loved it. David Johnson, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of his character anymore because it's been a month now.
Oh,
do you remember?
I'll look it up really quick. Andy,
that's right. Yeah, David Johnson is Andy. Excellent job. He's awesome. I think I was talking to you about him when I was anticipating seeing Alien Romulus, and I told you should check out Rye Lane, the rom-com from last year that he was in.
I have not seen that yet.
Definitely worth checking out. I think it's on Netflix, maybe. But for anyone listening, if you want to see more David Johnson and you've already seen Industry and Alien Romulus, check out Rye Lane. It's fun. But Alien Romulus, loved that. Kaylee Spaney also was awesome.
Excellent.
You know what I really loved about her performance? I bet she did like a lot of push-ups because her arms are jacked. And I really appreciated that because she did a lot of like lifting and pulling down of mechanical elements of the craft that they were on. And it would have seemed completely implausible if she were not jacked. And I was like, wow, I really like they put time into making it seem like she could do all of that physical stuff handily. I appreciated that very much because I hate when it feels discordant because there's like a very like stick thin actress doing all of this action stuff and you don't really buy it. But Kaylee Spaney, she sells it and she did a good job.
It's funny, in this movie, I was kind of thinking, I was already primed to be thinking about The Last of Us because Isabella Merced has been cast in the role of Dina. So Isabella Merced was the guy's sister who is pregnant. She is cast in the role of Dina for season 2. And I was like, oh, Kaylee Spaney would make an excellent Ellie. Like, I really, really enjoyed the Ellie that they cast, but I just think that Kaylee Spaney just like would fit that role and like that toughness has that like kind of tough energy.
She's got good grit.
Yeah, I would have really liked that casting. But yeah, excellent stuff in Alien Romulus. I thought the scares were excellent.
Good, great sequences. My favorite sequence was the zero gravity acid gauntlet. That fucking rocked.
Yeah. I really liked when they're walking through the, like when they turn up the temperature so that they can like kind of try to sneak past the aliens. I thought that was so clever. Actually, and so intense.
You reminded me of another thing I wanted to point out, which was that Kaylee Spaney's character had really excellent problem-solving skills, and I thought that was really fun and a nice attribute of the screenwriting.
Yeah.
She had great problem solving. She puzzled out a lot of cool stuff. And the body temperature room is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. And if you're at all interested in video games or like watching Let's Plays, I highly recommend playing or watching Alien Isolation. It is one of the most excellent like AAA video games out there, and it's such an excellent horror game. It does so many things well because there's so many different threats that you have to deal with. I won't stay on this too long, but basically there's the alien threat, but then there's like the robot threats that you have to deal with, and then
never forget also, there's a robot threat at all times.
Yes. And then there's also human threats. And so you're always having to adapt your strategy throughout the game. It's an excellent game. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend at least watching parts of it because they like nail the like ship design, which this film absolutely nails. Like the way that everything is designed, it looks so reminiscent of the original film. Yeah, just excellent stuff. Hated the alien baby. Get it out of there.
Yeah.
0 out of 10. No, thank you.
Great special effects, everyone.
Ugh, yucky guy. I also haven't seen Prometheus, and Scott was telling me that like that thing is like very reminiscent of stuff you see in Prometheus. So
you see a lot of stuff in Prometheus.
I was like, I don't fucking know what that is, but I'm very upset.
I finally caught up on Prometheus and Covenant. I gotta tell you, Covenant fucking rocks, man.
Oh, really?
It rocked. I loved it. Prometheus, great. Covenant, loved it.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like people just kind of like, in sequels, it's hard to tell what's going to be good and what's going to be bad. And so I think people just kind of write off sequels as a whole.
I know, but it was Prometheus and Covenant are Ridley. They like went back to Ridley and he's like, let me tell you what happened before Alien. And then he cooked up a bunch of awesome shit in the kitchen and served it up. And I was like, wow, Ridley. Hell yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. Cool. Yeah. Well, go watch those, everybody. If you liked Alien Romulus and you like Alien.
Yeah. Good
See
stuff.
what Ridley's got cooking.
Yeah. Really, you must. Okay, so since you also had Romulus on your list, I'll go to my second thing that I wanted to shout out. And this is a callback to a conversation we had recently where you were talking about different genres of horror, and I erroneously associated giallo with South America. I learned, thanks to the Criterion Collection's giallo collection for September, that it's exclusive to Italy. And I thought it could include other Romance languages, but no, it's Italy only.
Interesting.
So I watched a few giallo films, and they were really fun, and I loved them. And I loved seeing the origin of the lineage of really fun films like Body Double or Hardcore, and how that harkens back to, like Dario Argento movies and things like that. My favorite one that I wanted to shout out was Deep Red, and that's a Dario Argento, and it is really good, really fun, very heightened genre, stylized horror slasher movies. Yeah. It's from the 70s, and I think it's emblematic of the genre from what I can tell. Obviously, I'm just recently learning more about giallo, but I thought it was fun, and the score for it is one of the best things I've heard this year, period. It rocks so hard, and it makes this really fun experience of watching the film and seeing the murderer doing things from the murderer's perspective, but the score kicks in when the murderer's getting up to stuff. And I am so excited because I'm jamming out to the score, but also people are just being murdered at the same time. So it is just discordant emotions all over the place, but the score just is so sick. It's so good. And it made me wish that they would do something similar to like when you saw Jurassic Park with a live symphony. Yeah. I want to see Deep Red with a live house band. Because I think it would be sick as hell. Somebody please put that on offering for the Halloween season. I bet it would be amazing. I really want to learn the drum parts to be in the house band. That would be my dream life. Would be playing drums in the Deep Red house band.
You put together a band. You create this experience.
Yes. Yep. I need a bass player. I need an organist. Yeah.
Man.
Deep Red was cool.
Can you spell the name of the genre?
Oh, yeah. I think it's Giallo. Let me double check. Yeah.
I was going to spell something similar to that, but it would not have been correct. And Google would not have known what I was trying to ask it. It would have been like, did you mean Jello horror? And I would have been like, no. That sounds really good, though.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Very different. So, cool.
Perfect for this time of year, though.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent stuff for this time of year. My next one is kind of a weird choice, but I do want to bring it up. Well, not a weird choice. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. It's a movie that made me feel very mixed things. I did see it in the theater. It's the movie Blink Twice. And
yeah, I saw that.
Thought it was excellent. I thought it was like excellently executed. I thought it had a great sense of humor, and like the comedy in it was very, very good. Although I will say that it obviously is pretty graphic and like very like intense. And so I almost feel like it's kind of a shame, like, because there are parts of that movie where I'm like Scott and I will kind of like reference parts of that movie, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm kind of sad that like I don't want to watch that movie again because it was like so intense, and like I don't think I could go through the emotional intensity of that movie again. But I think that it's definitely thought-provoking, and it was well executed, well directed, well acted.
Good debut.
A great debut. I can't wait to see what Zoe Kravitz does next. And yeah, I would definitely do your research on it before you see it if you have the opportunity. I kind of wish I had done more research on it before I had gone to see it. But I'm glad that I went to see it. And I do think it's an excellent film. So if that's something that you think you'd be into seeing, I think that it was very, very good. And it's not a perfect film by any means. And I think that there was room for improvement. But I think that the areas where it was very good, it was excellent. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And it's one of Channing Tatum's best performances, I think. I think it might be my favorite Channing Tatum performance. Like, I think his acting was impeccable, and I think he was just excellent in that.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. I definitely agree. It has some flaws. I had a problem with the ending in particular, but certainly worth checking out. Definitely a really serviceable psychological thriller and a really promising debut from Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really excited to tell you about the next thing that I loved, which was The Substance. I'm sure you remember this was on my September Remy's radar, and I've been very excited to see it. This is Coralie Farja's follow-up to Revenge, and it rocked. I mean, I loved it. I know it's been divisive. I know it's heavy on the body horror elements for some, but I knew that going in and was excited for it and really enjoyed that. And I think I won't say like a lot of detail about it because you haven't seen it yet, Kat, and I think you're planning on seeing it at some point. So I'll save like my more detailed description of it for another time, but I think a lot of people have accused it of being very surface level, and I would counter that with, well, my impression, which is that there are a lot of nuanced interpretations and takes that you can bring away from the film if you put the time into thinking a bit more critically about different elements of it. So I think there is actually a lot to unpack from The Substance, and I think it was awesome. It was a great time. It was fun. The tone was a pleasant surprise. There was a lot of good humor on top of everything else, and I thought the heightened elements of the world really worked, and the performances were phenomenal. There was close-up chewing again, which I thought personally was the grossest part of the movie. Dennis Quaid is eating like a plate of shrimps in the beginning, and it's fucking disgusting.
Interesting. How close? Like,
we're so close. We're like right up in his gob. Like, very close, yeah.
Oh, man. Wow.
Oh, but also, that reminds me, this is non-spoilery. The sound design is incredible. You're hearing a lot of that chewing. You're hearing a lot of things. The sound design in concert with the production design / art direction, those two things or three things working together do such an incredible job of feeding the audience information without using dialogue. So the sound design of what's going on cues you in to kind of what stage you're in the process or what people are thinking about. And the production design of all of the elements around the substance and like the usage kits and the packaging for the substance and the step-by-step guides and all of that. So much thought was put into the design for those things so that you could totally see someone receiving these supplies and understanding the steps of all the processes. The design is very intuitive for the audience, and I thought that was really impressive because design of those types of things can be challenging to convey without any words. Like, there's no words in the directions, and yet the audience understands how all of the different parts of the kits work, and I thought that was incredibly impressive. So, sound design and production design masterclass as far as I'm concerned in The Substance. Very cool. Definitely keep that in mind when you're watching it, because I think it is phenomenal.
My next pick is the 2019, I think, film Vivarium. It stars Jesse Eisenberg and I believe Imogen Poots. I loved this film.
Yeah.
I was like so stoked about this film. I was really skeptical going into it because I remembered Scott telling me a little bit about it when he initially watched it. And I was like, I don't know, this sounds weird. The word vivarium triggers me. And what a cool and different take on like an alien invasion movie. Just so interesting, so different, so like kind of slow, and it like makes you think about human behavior a lot. It makes you think about the way you would handle this situation a lot. It makes you think about just like the burden of being polite. And I hope people go see this because it was just really, really good. And I don't know that like every part of it like landed for me, but there were like some really scary moments, some really confusing moments, some really intriguing moments. Like not all of your questions get answered. And I just I love when a movie has like a monster in it that just makes me want to know more. And I like leave the movie being like, but what? But like, why? And what's the whole goal? And like your brain just like can't stop turning and like playing with the film and turning it over in your mind. And yeah, it was just really good. And it had some like very heartfelt moments, and yeah, it was excellent. It hit all of its emotional beats, I thought. Very good film. Highly recommend. Probably one of my favorite films I've watched this month or in the past couple of months.
Where did you watch it?
I think we rented it.
Rented? Okay.
I don't know if it's streaming. Let me double check that. Yeah, we rented it. It says that it's on MovieSphere. Which I don't even know what MovieSphere is, but we rented it.
The final thing that I wanted to shout out since we last talked was A Different Man. I also saw this last week. It's a film directed by Aaron Schimberg, and it stars Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson, and it was really cool. And it was a really great counterpart to watch in the same week as The Substance, because it has a lot of compatible themes, though completely different vehicles for those themes. But I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, and I was really pleasantly surprised by the tone and the execution of A Different Man, because there was a lot of really good humor, a lot of knowing humor, and just a lot of kind of fascinating decisions camera work wise that I wasn't expecting. Like a lot of, not like crash zooms, but jarring zooms, and just a lot of clever commentary done through smart character work. And I think it definitely executes on what it sets out to do in exposing the difference in approaches to life that the different characters are portraying to you. And like I said, I was just very pleasantly surprised overall. It was much more creative and much less dry than a film like that could easily be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I was very intrigued by the trailer for that, and definitely didn't have enough to really know what to expect in the film. So your review definitely makes me more intrigued.
Yeah, definitely would recommend. I even gasped out loud at one point. I was so surprised by something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it looks really good, and I haven't seen Sebastian Stan in a ton of stuff. I feel like he's been in a lot, but like I just haven't like watched a lot. I think like the only movies I've really seen him in were like the old Captain America movies and stuff, like when I was younger. And so, yeah, I was excited by the concept of this. But yeah, that movie looks really good, and I'm glad you liked it so much. I know that that's been something that you've been interested in, so.
Yeah, definitely recommend.
Yeah. And then my last one was I've been saying it for forever that I wanted to watch this film, and I finally got around to seeing Oddity.
Yeah.
Watched it out on the balcony projector, and it was amazing. I loved it. Yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better film. I had such a fun time. I don't know what the fuck that golem thing is, but 10 out of 10 for that thing. He had some of the best spooks and scares.
Creepy guy, yeah.
Creepy guy. And, yeah, I really liked kind of guessing what was going on. I thought it had, like, some good psychological thriller aspects to it. I had a fun time guessing what was going on. And
the guessing is fun.
Yes. Yeah, I had a fun time with that. And I think that they did a really good job with pacing the reveals of different pieces of information. And because, like, obviously the twin sister who is psychic knows more than the audience does. And so you're trying to use her actions to inform you. So you're saying, like, she knows something that I don't know. And based on her actions in this scene, I can infer that X person might have done X. And I thought that was so fun. And it was kind of like a whodunit mixed with a horror film.
There were some scary moments in that film.
So scary. I loved, like, all of the digital camera stuff. Like the scene where... Oh my god. So, spoilers ahead. Skip around. Just
skip around.
Just skip around if you don't want. But I gotta talk about this, guys. There's like a scene where she's set up this digital camera because her sister is a psychic. The woman who dies at the very beginning, like in the trailer, you know that this woman who lives in this old castle that she's renovating has died, and it's set up that there's like this strange man that comes to her door, and it's likely that he has come inside of her house and has brutally murdered her. And he's like saying, like, someone's in your house. And she like goes and she picks up this digital camera that she has set up to take pictures every so often to try to capture ghosts, because she thinks that the castle is haunted. And so she's trying to catch pictures of ghosts for her and her sister's project. And she's like flipping through, and there's like one frame where there's like this guy in this mask, and he's like just standing outside of the tent that she sleeps in. And then he's like gone, and she's like inside the tent when she's looking at these pictures because she's an idiot, and she gets back in the tent.
I was so mad at her.
And we had just watched the Blair Witch Project the night before, and I was like, why are you getting in the tent? The tent. You can't defend yourself in a tent.
Nonsensical choice. What the fuck is she doing?
Go get a weapon. What are you talking about?
Anything.
What are you doing?
Do anything different.
And so, yeah, so the camera is like used for so many good spooks, because then like the husband's new girlfriend is like looking at photos on the camera and like sees a vision of the dead wife, and that's really spooky. Oh my god, excellent scares. Loved all of that. Kind of reminded me like a little bit of like Hill House kind of vibes. Hill House kind of scares. Loved it. Loved every second of it. But yeah, I think it was excellent film. I loved the sense of justice at the end. I loved that she had a backup plan the whole time. And yeah, it was just a good time. Highly recommend checking that out. that we also rented. Hopefully it will be streaming somewhere soon, but it's definitely worth renting.
Yeah, I think it will be.
But yeah, those are all my picks.
Yeah.
Lots of good movies that we've been watching.
Yeah, great start to the fall.
I know.
Lots of scary stuff.
And more to come.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky season's my favorite season. And it starts very early for me. We start with Spooky September, and then we go into Spooky October, and then we go into Spooky November, and then we go into Spooky December. And it just never ends. It ends in, like, February, I suppose. Because, like, I gotta fit in, like, my winter horror. Like, there's so much good winter horror, you know?
Oh, definitely.
The Shining, The Lodge. Spooky season's as long as I need it to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we will be back in 2 weeks for y'all. And check out all these recs in the meantime. And see y'all again here soon. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us this week on Friend Diagram. Thank you to Tyler Seek for the creation of our intro and outro music. Did you take any of our recommendations? Have any thoughts on the show? Let us know at frienddiagrampod@gmail.com, and we might read your email on a future episode. If you can, please take a moment to rate and review the show on your podcast app of choice, and we'll see you back here, same place next week. Bye for now.